Hello everyone, today is 5th of June. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Now guys, first of all, let's have a look on today's GS Fodder. So today, we will be taking a quote from Friedrich von Hayek, a prominent philosopher and economist, as well as also the winner of the Nobel Prize into the economic sciences. Now guys, the Friedrich Hayek had defined the idea of social justice that should be needed into the democratic societies. He had said that the idea of social justice is that the state should treat different people unequally in order to make them equal. Now, often guys, it has been seen that many a times the root cause of inequality is giving the equality to the different people without appreciating their differences, without seeing the difference into their abilities as well as capabilities. So rather putting a kind of a single or a uniform parameter, we need to understand that what type of particular preferences should be given in order to bring the holistic social justice. Guys, we can utilize this particular idea into the GS paper number 2. So that is all about the today's GS Fodder, and now let's take the newspaper analysis in detail. Now guys, taking up the first article. So this article has been taken from the Hindu as well as from the Indian Express newspaper, and it talks about a very important decision that has been taken by the Defense Acquisition Council, which will enhance the India's self-defense capabilities as well as India's Atmanirbharta. Now guys, before going into the nitty-gritties of this particular article, we will be taking up some background information. See, you might be knowing that in 1999 there was the Kargil War, and after the Kargil War, the review of India's self-defense capabilities was done, and it was found that India is in dire need to have an arsenal of the submarines to boost our naval presence. Now, into this particular matter, guys, in 1999 itself, Cabinet Committee onto the Security, it provided that within the next 30 years, that up till 2030, we need to have at least 24 submarines. Now, these 24 submarines will be both the conventional submarines as well as the nuclear powered submarines. Guys, the conventional submarines are those ones which are powered by electricity or by the diesel. So this was the plan which was laid out. Then guys, for so many years, there was no particular decision into that this particular direction was taken. Now guys, what has happened? Finally now, the Defense Acquisition Council, that is the DAC, which is the highest body under the Ministry of Defense for the policy matters, for the capital asset acquisition, they had cleared that into the upcoming years, at least 6 conventional defense submarines will be procured. Fine. So this is one particular thing that has happened. Now guys, are talking little bit more about the concept. See, as we are seeing that into the last few years, the government is very much concentrate onto increasing the defense capabilities. So guys, for that particular thing, in 2017, one development happened, that is coming out with the strategic partnership model. Now, what is this strategic partnership model and how it is linked here? We'll see this. See, it was a fact that we need the best of the best technologies for our defense equipment, and at the same time the indigenous capabilities, manufacturing capabilities of defense equipment is also to be gained. So under this strategic partnership model, government said that there will be the foreign original equipment manufacturers, fine, they will be the global vendors, fine, they can partner with the Indian manufacturers, and by the technology transfer and all such kind of thing, this arrangement can go through. So they will give us the critical technologies, we will actually be manufacturing it onto the mass scale, so both the purposes will be solved. Now guys, what has happened under this strategic partnership model, fine, we have come out with the P75I program, and actually this P75I has been cleared, and under this, these 6 conventional submarines will be manufactured by the Indian as well as by the foreign original equipment manufacturers. Now guys, in India there are 2 companies that has been shortlisted. Actually, you don't need to remember their names, but you can see that is the Mazagon Dock Shipbuilders as well as the Larsen and Toubro. So both have been shortlisted. Now both of these will be partnering with at least one foreign vendor. And guys, these foreign vendors, they includes the ThyssenKrupp of Germany, Naval Group of France, and all such kind of thing. Actually, we don't need to go into such kind of details. So guys, this particular development has happened, and actually it is the largest Make in India project ever. This entire project will be costing more than 43,000 crore rupees. Then guys, basically it has been provided by the Ministry of Defense that it is not only a one-time arrangement, rather by going through this particular arrangement, we will be able to develop the tiered submarine manufacturing ecosystem in India. We will gain the capabilities, and into the long term, not only for us but for other nations also, we can build the submarines. Moreover, it will also reduce our import dependence onto the other countries. Number one, it will have its own strategic advantage. Number two, India's current account deficit, India's balance of payment will also be sorted out. So guys, this is all about this particular article. I hope you have understood it, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and here we will see a kind of a case study which could be important for our GS paper number 4 under the topic of attitude as well as the social influence, and into the topic number 8 of the case studies also. Now see, what has happened guys, there is a particular kind of a misinformation which is floating out. That is, the 5G towers that are being tested, they are responsible for the spread of COVID-19 coronavirus, as well as many other kind of problems are also being caused. Now, because of this particular thing, guys, a few days back into the Haryana, particularly into the Jind and Rohtak, there were the people who destroyed the 5G towers also. Now, this is a kind of a misinformation. And guys, this is one thing. There is another thing that I want to now discuss. See, when we talk about the celebrities, but in particular, they have a particular kind of aura. They have a particular kind of power, that is power to cause the social influence. Now, what is the social influence? Social influence simply means that there are certain people who can influence other person's choices, their behavior and their attitude. Now guys, into the India, if you see, we have a very cult following towards the celebrities. Clear? Whatever their celebrities hold a particular type of outlook, their followers also imitate to them. Clear? So such kind of thing goes on. Now guys, what has happened here? The Bollywood actress Juhi Chawla, she filed a particular petition into the Delhi High Court against these 5G towers that are being installed, because there into the petition it was said that there might be certain health consideration and such kind of things. Now guys, when such an important Bollywood actress, or I use the word important rather than the famous Bollywood actress, when she is putting such kind of a cause, it gives a kind of a indirect signal to the followers that yes, such kind of thing might not be desired or might be having some problems, and they also start to harbor a particular negative attitude. Now guys, the 5G towers spreading the coronavirus is not feasible. Why? Because the virus is a kind of an organism and it cannot be transmitted from the radio waves onto this particular thing. The World Health Organization has also issued a report, and the scientific community is also not onto this particular matter. There are controversies into the scientific circles whether the COVID virus was man-made or it originated from the zoonotic origins, but onto this particular matter there is a unanimity that it is a kind of a misinformation that has been spread out. And when such an influential or a famous Bollywood personality is coming out into matter of this, it gives further fuel to such kind of misinformations. So therefore, by the virtue of the social influence they are possessing, they also have the moral responsibility into the public spaces. They should come out only with the meaningful things which can bring some kind of a positive change into the outlook, into the thinking, into the attitude of the people. So guys, even into the GS paper number 4, there could be a questions that whether the celebrities have a moral responsibility or not. So this is one particular matter. Then guys, there is also one other matter, that even the products that are being endorsed by the celebrities, there also is an issue. Many a times the celebrities are endorsing the products which are harmful for the health. Fine. And such kind of things are, when it is being spread, the people, they take the words of the celebrities and starts to consume it. It then brings some kind of negative implication. Guys, a few years back, when there was a controversy going on that the Maggi, it contains the traces of lead, it contains the traces of MSG, then Amitabh Bachchan was endorsing the Maggie. It was said that Amitabh Bachchan should owe the moral responsibility. So guys, these celebrities are different from the general masses, and by the virtue of their power of social influence, their actions are to be more critically analyzed onto the lens of morality. So guys, this is one particular viewpoint that you should have with respect to GS paper number 4. So that is all, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it is providing a critical analysis of the recently announced Niti Aayog's SDG India Index report. Now guys, already into the yesterday newspaper analysis, that is into the 4th of June analysis, we have seen about this entire report and its finding. If you have missed it, you can refer to it. Now guys, when we talk about this SDG India Index, it has provided in a nutshell that in the 2021, India had performed better towards the SDG goals. In 2019, for comparison, the score of India was 60, but in 2021, it has improved to 66. Now guys, if you don't know what happens into this particular report, different states as well as different union territories, they are given a score from 0 to 100. Now here the score of 100 means that this particular SDG has been completely achieved. Now guys, a kind of a national average is also taken up. So we are on 66 score, which is a kind of a very good improvement towards the sustainable developmental goals. Now it has been provided into the report that there are certain good things, however there are certain concerns also. Now the good thing is that number one, we see that the SDGs which are particularly onto the eradication of poverty, hunger, availability of affordable clean energy, accessibility of the electricity and clean cooking fuel to the households, there a kind of an improvement has been seen. This is a good thing. However, at the same time, there are certain concerns also. The concern number one is that guys, on a particular goals which are pertained to the industry, innovation, infrastructure, providing the condition of decent work to the people, here a considerable decline has been seen, and actually the economic goals are also onto the sustainable developmental goals. So onto this particular parameter, India is lagging behind. Now there could be a justification also for this particular matter, that now the pandemic and the lockdown are responsible for this thing. But guys, even before the pandemic also, India's performance was not very much good. So this is one matter of concern. Then guys, secondly, as I told you that here all the states and union territories are given the score. So here we see that there is a huge disparity, huge differential between the southern and the western states onto the one hand, and onto the other hand the northeastern as well as the eastern states. So these north central and the eastern states, they are performing poor. And if this particular disparity will not be taken into the account, then guys, into the coming years it might be a federal challenge, the federal challenge of inequality. Is it clear? So this is the another concern. Then guys, the third concern that comes here is that what has happened, the 2021 report, can it be compared to the older year report? There is a issue. The methodological changes have been introduced into this particular year, and because of that methodological change, the comparison cannot be made entirely. Now guys, number one, when we talk particularly about the inequality, the SDG calls about the reduction of inequality. Now into the earlier reports, the economic indicators of inequality were well accounted. But now these economic indicators of inequality have been dropped and other indicators have been introduced. Now guys, what has happened, particularly this year's report, it has brought that whether the representation of the women, people from marginalized communities is there in the legislature as well as local government or not. If the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes are getting the representation or not. So a kind of a political indicator has been introduced. Moreover guys, the Gini coefficient measure has also been dropped down. Now the Gini coefficient, which is the statistical measure to evaluate the inequality, now as it has also been dropped, we cannot actually compare this particular year's report with the other reports and can be very much sure that the improvement has been there. So guys, these are certain of the concerns of the SDG report that has been issued. So guys, that is all about this particular article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now friends, this article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it is talking about saving the biodiversity. Now today is 5th of June, and 5th of June is celebrated as the World Environment Day. And on this occasion, there are two articles onto the Hindu newspaper. Now guys, they will be important for the GS paper number 3, environment and ecology. So some important attachments you can take for it. Now see, first of all, when we talk about the World Environment Day, it is celebrated every year on to the 5th of June, and it is the principal vehicle that is being utilized by the United Nations to create the environmental awareness, and as well as a kind of a nudge to persuade the people that the sustainable development should now be adopted. Now guys, the 2021 World Environment Day, its theme is ecosystem restoration, and the Pakistan will be the global host for this World Environment Day. Now guys, the 2021 World Environment Day is again important because it is kicking off the United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restoration that will go up till 2030. So these are some of the factual information could be important for prelims examination this year, keep in mind. Now, when we talk about a particular kind of a challenge that we are facing right now, apart from the pandemic, it is the decline into the biodiversity, and this particular decline can cause much of the problems for the mankind in the times to come. Now see, it has been provided into the article that globally 7% of the forest have been lost compared to the 2000. Fine. Now this particular loss is a huge. For example guys, there is the economic consideration. It has been said that if we just in India only see that what is the economic contribution or what are the economic services that are being provided by the forest, then their cost is more than $1 trillion. Now just see, the 7% of the forest of the entire world has been lost. Fine. Moreover guys, the forest ecosystems, the nature is not only having the economic consideration, but it also is the source of spiritual contentment. It is also the source of aesthetic appreciation and all such kind of things. So biodiversity plays a very important role, and now it is expected that into the coming days, by seeing the level of development, industrialization that is going on, millions of the species will be lost forever. Now, into this particular direction, it has been said that guys, this particular pandemic also reminds us for the environmental conservation to respect the environment, because the COVID-19 is having a zoonotic origin, and therefore now the concept of One Health has come. Now guys, the One Health simply means that the health of the human being is attached with the overall health and well-being of the environment, ecosystem, wildlife, and all such kind of things. So One Health is the way forward. Into this particular direction guys, India is doing a good work. For example, in 2018, the Prime Minister's Science, Technology and Innovation Advisory Council had taken up the National Mission on Biodiversity and Human Well-being. Now this particular mission is intrinsically taking up the idea of One Health into the consideration, conserving the biodiversity, nature, in order to conserve the human existence. Now guys, this particular mission has the particular aims, and we'll see that how by these aims the One Health is being promoted. So number one, it aims to restore, conserve and to sustainably use the India's natural resources, India's jungles, as well as to embed that how biodiversity can further drive the India's development. Is it clear? So eco development we are more talking about. Fine. Then guys, basically this particular mission also aims that how the citizens as well as the policy can be oriented towards enhancing the biodiversity information, to enhance the capacity among all the sectors, that how into an environmentally responsible manner the sustainable developmental goals can be achieved. Then guys, it has been provided that not only it will be conserving our biodiversity and will be making us environmentally more responsible, but many of the other environmental obligations, such as the obligations and commitments under the Convention of Biological Diversity, will also be met by the National Mission on Biodiversity and Human Well-being. Then guys, further it has been provided that as we are talking about the India is a home of more than 8% of global biodiversity on just 2.53% of the land. And guys, by conserving this huge biodiversity, India can emerge out as a global leader. So onto this particular aspect of India's global or diplomatic image, also this particular mission can be very much important. So guys, it has been provided that now the time has come that government's budget priorities, government's developmental priorities are more oriented towards the idea of One Health, as well as to make the national mission of biodiversity and human well-being much more adopted into the policy framework. So guys, this is this entire idea which has been given up into this particular article. Please do utilize this particular mission as a central highlight towards the idea of One Health if a question is asked. So that is all, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this article has also been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it is also talking about the environmental conservation. Now, the basic premise of this article is also same, that we are now facing the twin challenges. On one hand, there is a challenge of COVID, and on to the other hand, there is a challenge of climate. But actually, this article is appreciating the efforts that have been taken by the India. Actually, guys, if we talk about the author of this article, he is Mr. Alok Sharma, who will be the president of the COP26 that is going to be held this year. Now, see, it has been said that India had done some of the impressive things. For example, number one, 450 gigawatt target has been taken by India, that this much of renewable energy will be developed by 2030. And into this particular direction, much of the work has also been done. Then guys, India is also instrumental into the International Solar Alliance. Fine. Then the coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure is also one of the good initiative that has been proposed by India. Now guys, under the CDRI, what happens? India had proposed that there needs to be a global coalition or global partnership between the United Nations agencies, multilateral developmental agency, developmental banks, private sector, as well as with the other kind of organizations. So together they can brainstorm that how resilient economic, social, political infrastructure can be made. Fine. So this is also a good kind of initiative which shows that how India is keen to bring the climate mitigation. Now, further, guys, what has happened recently? India had also signed the 2030 India UK roadmap. Now it aims that how the green growth agenda can be brought, and onto the green growth agenda, the partnerships, the best of the best practice will be shared, and all such kind of thing is happening. So far it has been said that the resolve of India to meet the climate change is very much appreciable. But it has been said that now the 2021 is actually a very deciding year. Guys, in 2021, United Nations Climate Change Conference's COP, Conference of Party, is going to be held into the Glasgow. And now a kind of a countdown will begin, because up till 2030, the goal that was taken under the Paris Climate Pledge has to be achieved. Under the Paris Agreement, it was achieved that we will aim to stop the global climate rise up till 2 degrees Celsius. And if possible, we need to stop it at 1.5 degrees Celsius. Fine. So for this particular thing, much has to be done. Now guys, there are actually 4 points that have been made into this particular article. It has been said, number one, that if we want to keep only up till 1.5 degrees Celsius range, then guys, the countries had to commit that they will be reaching the net zero emissions at least by 2030 or by 2050 in maximum. So guys, when we talk about the net zero targets, it means that whatever emission is being done by the country, similar emission is also being sequestered, either by planting more trees or by some other kind of technologies. So basically the net emission is zero only. So India had actually up till now not taken any official target of achieving the carbon neutrality. So it is a kind of an attempt that India should also take such kind of target, because it will signal that India also believes that the future is low carbon and India is giving its contribution into this thing. Then secondly, it has been said that there is a goal that we need to protect the people and nature from the worst effects of climate change, such as the forest fires, flood, drought, etc. And into this particular direction, the capacity building needs to be done. Now guys, we see that there are two devastating cyclones that we have seen, that is the Tokte and the Yas. Now these cyclones have been they have wreaked so much of havoc, and partly they are also being caused due to the climate changes that are coming. Then guys, thirdly, it has been said that the developed countries need to ensure that at least $100 billion support that was promised to the developing countries need to be given as soon as possible, because the developing countries are in urgent need of finance so that it can be utilized in building up the technologies as well as capabilities. Then fourthly, it has been said that all the countries need to work together as a team to develop the environmental to deliver onto the environmental targets, because now the isolated thinking, isolated efforts will not be working. Fine, the clock is ticking. So onto this particular matter, as early as possible, the decisions have to be taken up. So it has been said that all the world countries need to be apprehensive about these 4 points that have been raised. So guys, that is all about this particular article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it is talking about a recent decision that has been taken by the CBSE, and it will be important for our GS paper number 2, school level education. Now, the CBSE has announced that they will introduce the coding and the data sciences as the module into the schools. Now, this particular thing will be done with the collaboration with Microsoft. Now guys, as we have seen already that in 2020 government came out with the new education policy. Into the new education policy, it was provided that the critical thinking, out of the box thinking, fine, and all such kind of vocations which are needed into the present century, present times, are needed to be taught to the children from 6th class onwards. And into this thing, the CBSE has actually introduced many of the skill modules, and now the coding and the data sciences is being utilized. It will enhance the logical thinking into the children. Further guys, it has been said that it will also nurture the design thinking, logical flow of ideas. When the children will be learning such kind of skill modules, they will be able to enhance their cognitive abilities, and they will be in a better position to apply this knowledge into the other disciplines also. Then further it has been said that it will also lay the foundation that how the students can develop the competencies into the artificial intelligence, data science, and the student, they can emerge as the demographic dividend into the true sense. Fine. So because of this particular thing, the CBSE had introduced such skill modules. Fine. So guys, that is all which has been taken up here into this article. I hope you have understood it. Please do utilize in your GS paper number 2. So guys, that is all about the today's newspaper analysis. Thank you so much.